Welcome back, players. I'm Jack with 36 Cancel, and this is Coco the Weiss Cat. So it's absolutely sweltering up here in my studio, which can only mean that we're in the peak of summer. It's about 100 degrees out, and I've already had to get my AC repaired for Freon leaks. And ordinarily, I would transition into a pun about the summer in Weiss is also hot, but it's not. Let's be real, COVID with its second wave has kept most of our LGSs closed, and all the exciting in-person tournaments are canceled with no rescheduled plans in sight. However, there are still several things to talk about in the community and from Bushiroad. Like right now, fingers crossed, Bushiroad is maintaining a steady release schedule, which means that not only new sets like Slime, which I'll be opening on the channel soon, are coming home, but also that future sets are still being announced. Bushiroad's also taken more initiative lately on keeping players at home entertained with activities held through Bushiroad Remote Fight, and they've made several other announcements about the goings-on in general. We'll cover all of this in the coming minutes. And speaking of fighting remotely, the Weiss Schwarz online invitationals are going strong. In fact, they're just about to hit their climax, and you can bet we'll be talking about it. And finally, just some general mid-year news about Weiss Schwarz as a whole and the channel. I don't feel like being up here in the heat too long, so let's just jump into it. I want to start off with the news for the Weiss Schwarz Online Invitationals. If you didn't know, there's an ongoing online tournament organized by ENTCG with some very high-profile participants. Burn One, Strictly Broken, Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz, Boatstone Sink, and other commentators are also bringing life into the matches in real time. And we've got several world-class players competing, including Riaz Mohammed, Kit Kang, Ryan Wibberley, among many others. I was also a participant in the tournament, but predictably scrubbed out at 0-2, and I'm now last in the bracket. Oh well, can't win them all. To briefly outline my games, I was piloting my Goblin Slayer list, Priestess, which had been doing well for me in the shop challenge circuit before COVID hit. Round 1, I played against Sven, a talented German player piloting Zekken Last Shot SAO. Now, even though the invitationals were best of 3, my 2 games were downright awful. I triggered climaxes, drew non-playables, and just about everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Sven didn't really have to play any level 3s either game, and unfortunately, I just kind of curled up and died. That put me in the losers bracket. In round 2, I played against Vince, who was also piloting Goblin Slayer, but the polar opposite of my build. Instead, he played a red and yellow build with Standby and the Pebble Dwarf finisher. In game 1, I got off to a bit of a rocky start, but proceeded to control the pace for the majority of the game until the very end. I thought I had him, but he got some super clutch cancels and killed me the following turn. And in game 2, both of us kind of had slow starts, but we both snowballed into very strong level 3 setups. I had myself set up to close the game the following turn with a triple Priestess defense and a fair amount of climaxes in deck. If Vince hadn't hit all 6 soul triggers on his Dwarf Mill, I definitely would have lived. But he did, and with some other unlucky swings at the final turn, I died. I was sad that I went 0-2, but the games against Vince were super fun to play. I highly suggest checking them out on the official YouTube channel for the WS Invitationals. And speaking of that, let's talk more about the field as a whole. This is an extremely varied tournament in terms of meta. The tournament had 4 classic SAO, 4 Goblin Slayer, 4 Bang Dream, 4 Konosuba, 3 Titan, 3 Sunshine, 2 ReZero, 2 Fate, 1 Fantasia Bunko, 1 Batman Ninja, 1 JoJo, and 1 Alicization, piloted by none other than the world champion Riaz Mohammed. As this was a best-of-3 double elimination tournament, there were both a winner and losers bracket. Well, at least there was, but the elimination bracket finals just happened literally seconds ago. Ryan Wibberley has defeated Riaz Mohammed in the elimination semifinals and David in the finals. This means that Ryan, representing Strictly Broken, Canada, and Konosuba, is the winner of the losers bracket and will now face Matt, representing both Australia and the Fate series, in the grand finals. The match is likely scheduled for Saturday the 1st, so look for either ENTCG's channel or the WS Invitational channel for more information as it comes out. You don't want to miss this. But even if you do, you can catch that match and all the amazing matches that happened before on the WS Invitational's main channel, which contains playlists of every match. Links will be in the description. We've got some super strong players, great decks, and seemingly a nice healthy variety at the top. Sadly, on my end, since a few weeks ago when the second wave of COVID hit, I've been extremely busy with work, and many of the matches are happening outside my time zone and outside the small window in the evenings that I can commentate without really depriving myself of sleep, so I haven't been as involved as I wanted to be. But regardless, I've tuned into a lot of the matches, and I'd highly recommend you do as well. A lot of them are recorded and free to view on the WS Invitational's YouTube channel, which will be in the description. Thanks again to ENTCG for organizing this tournament, Nova TCG for providing prize support, and all the participants and commentators. I'm sad I wasn't as involved as I wanted to be throughout the whole event, but I look forward to more events like this one in the future. Keep up the good work, and thank you so much again for the invite. Luckily though, you players at home don't have to be invited to a 32-person tournament if you want to flex your Weiss muscles online though. Bushiroad's been helping us on that front, and this is the part of the video where I talk about how Bushiroad's been supporting the players stuck at home in the absence of Springfest and the Shop Challenge tournament. Bushiroad has set up a Discord server dedicated to finding matches. Originally, this was mostly in Japanese, but more recently it's gotten a lot more support for English speakers. There are several channels where you can look for games, discuss Weiss in general, and just hang out. Typically, Bushiroad recommends that you drop by in the afternoon hours on the weekends for Bushi Bustle, a time where more players are likely to be online and when Bushiroad staff members host official streams, talk about upcoming events, and reveal cards of the day. They have a number of small summer community events too, like sign-up tournaments, collection showcases, and even a scavenger hunt. I don't want to steal all of Bushi's thunder here, so I suggest you check this out for yourself. If you do, be sure to follow all the server rules and read the terms before you participate. All this said, I'm very grateful to Bushi for setting all this up. It's great that we have even more ways to keep things going in the community, even if we can't face each other in real life or hang out at our local game store. And Bushiroad hasn't forgotten about our local game stores. They've just announced Thank You Fest coming to a participating game store near you. There'll be tournaments similar to Springfest where the top players can receive cool promos and a limited Bushiroad lanyard. And finally, we can exchange the hot stamp coupons for actual cards at participating stores. I'll put the link to this page in the description so you guys can find a store near you. Of course, I don't condone unwarranted traveling in these times, and it's unlikely that I'll be going to some of these tournaments if things haven't gotten better in the States. Which, come on, let's be real here. But I'll definitely at least swing by and stop in with my mask on to exchange these damn Priestess coupons I've been sitting on. That said, on their page, Bushiroad has also put up an announcement that come September, when you buy a sealed booster box from participating local game stores, you can receive these special tokens. I assume this is in hopes that things will really start getting back to normal by then, and in some countries, that might be plausible. In the US, we're not going to talk about that. Instead, let's talk about the release schedule, because we're on track to get a lot of new stuff in the coming months. And even if your local game store is closed, you can still pre-order, which I've done in spades, especially for that time I got reincarnated as a slime, which a friend and I have split a case for. In or around the 31st of July, we'll have our boxes and trial decks, and we'll be posting up an opening video for you players at home. I'm prepped with some sick supplies, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. Look for that in the near future. Next up, in August, ReZero Memory Snow hits the scene on the 28th. Now, we've known about this set for a while, and I've already touched on it in other videos, but I'll summarize and say that Memory Snow is a standalone set and has a lot of stuff going on. It packs a ton of anti-meta hate, like anti-burn, anti-early play hate, and even anti-standby tech. And even though ReZero has never been my speed, the art on some of these cards is downright gorgeous. Speaking of gorgeous cards, there's an awesome set coming right after Memory Snow, and that I've also got pre-ordered. Overlord, renamed Tomb of Nazarick presumably for copyright reasons, is dropping September 25th, 2020. Now, Overlord is one of my favorite shows, and I'm super excited to see it coming to English, but it's an older set in Japan, and it definitely shows its age in some ways. That said, it still has an awesome toolkit, powerful finishers, good combos, and even standby. It promises to be very fun to play with, and it's another box opening I'll be super psyched for. If you haven't already, check out my set preview for it, which will also be linked in the description. And then on October 23rd, Konosuba Legend of Crimson is being released in English. The set is a much newer set in Japan, only having been released a few months ago, and is legal to play with existing Konosuba sets. I actually just did a preview for this one, and I'll put that link in the description as well for you folks at home to check out if you want. But if you just want some quick info now, the movie set has a lot of new things to offer on just about every front. It has a new finishing and level 1 combo for every heroine, new toolkits for all colors, and even a new enemy faction deck featuring Best Chimera, Sylvia. But again, we had dates for this a while ago, so let's get into more recent announcements. I know what we're all thinking here. Where's Adventure Time? Well, we finally got word on when the biggest English flagship title is releasing, so after much delay and ado about COVID, it's going to be November 20th, 2020. And guess what? Bushiroad just put out some of the first substantive spoilers on this set. Let's have a look. First, they showed us a 1-0 Finn. He's base 5k, and if you have his trusty sword, Scarlet, in memory, every time he reverses an opponent, you can put the top card of your deck into your stock. And Sacred Sword of Battle Scarlet is a 1-1 event. When you play it, put it in your memory and reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an U character, put it into your hand. And so long as the sword is in your memory, during your turn, all of your other U characters get plus 500 power. It's a pretty cool combo flavor-wise. And it's miles better than Sakura's ribbon. Anyway, Bushi gave us 2 more spoilers here. There's a double bonding level 0 500 power Joshua and Margaret. They're pay 1 bond for a card called Jake the Dog and Finn the Human, which Bushi said they would reveal later, and a discard bond for this 2-1 event, Demon Bloodsword. Put a character in your waiting room and then choose up to 2 of your opponent's characters and return them to their hand. Now, there are plenty of 2-1 events like this, and the cost on this isn't too attractive, but since it's a discard bond on a level 0 with a double bond ability, I can definitely see running this as a tech piece against stuff like Priestess and Standby. There were also some cards added to the main Adventure Time page just recently. There's a level 0 Jake that's an on-play pay-to search that's also a climax pitch character salvage, which is a very decent profile. Also at 0, there's a Wildberry Suicider that memory compresses for 1 stock to search a character, also a very decent kit. And one of the first spoilers the set got, this 3500 level 0 Lemon Grab that can't side, mills 3 on play, and mills 1 additional card. If that 1 card is a climax, Lemon Grab goes to stock. And for some of the first higher level spoilers, there's a 2-1 Vampire that you can pitch 2 to stock swap your opponent, and he sends an event called Night Sphere Amulet to memory from your waiting room on death. And a 3-2 Lich that, on attack, if you pay 2, pitch 2, and put his book climax from the zone into the waiting room, kills your opponent's front row. Don't worry, he's not double rare. So even though there aren't too many cards out yet, Adventure Time is shaping up to be an interesting set. It's one of the most popular announcements for the English market that Bushi's made, and it's got a lot of players and potential players excited. I'm hoping that even if Adventure Time really isn't my cup of tea, and I grew up too early to grow up with the show like so many who are in love with it, those who enjoyed it will find their way to Weiss and find a common hobby to share with us. That's my way of saying, damn, I hope this set brings in some new blood. And you know what? It very well could. But even though we don't know much yet, pre-orders have gone up across a lot of online dealers, so hit them up and show your card dealers some love during a time where they probably aren't doing so hot. Adventure Time not your jam? Don't worry, because the new set announcements probably have something for you. Because in Bushiroad's most recent announcements, we've got some really varied and really interesting stuff on the horizon. First up, Fate Grand Order Babylonia has been announced to be coming to English, giving Fate a grand total of 7 sets, 3 of which are standalone. And yes, for those of you who don't immediately know the math on this, Babylonia is standalone. It's based on the mobile game Fate Grand Order and the anime that was adapted for one of the game's story arcs. I'm a huge fan of the Fate universe, and I play the MOBA game Fate Grand Order too. With the summer event coming up, I was actually thinking about posting some videos online of me suffering through the game's gacha. Let me know if you guys would enjoy that. But that aside, Fate Go is the source material for the ever-popular eggplant waifu, Mash Kiralight. If you're looking for SPs of her, you'd better watch for that release announcement so you can get your pre-orders in. If I had to bet, I'd say this will be Bushi's Christmas release. But who knows, maybe it will be Mob Psycho 100. And that's right, Mob Psycho 100 is the newest original English title to be announced. And I have absolutely no idea what the show is. So at this point, other than the announcement, we have nothing on it as no cards exist in Japan yet, but from what I gather, Mob Psycho is an action horror show centered around a boy called Mob who manifests psychokinetic powers by the power of the hot-blooded emotions that come with youth. I hear it has a pretty big following, and hey, it's done by the guy who did One Punch Man, so it's pretty neat. I might check it out. Though it's probably not a set I'll get into, I imagine there are a lot of English players, and again, potential players, who could be very excited about this announcement. So we have a big Fate title, 2 English originals, a classic aged like fine wine, an anti-meta standalone set, a new meta expansion set, and whatever slime is. But there's one more announcement, and guess what? It's a double. Magia Record's side story is coming to English. Now, Magia Record exists in Japan and is legal to play with the existing Madoka Magica expansions. It's based off of the Magia Record mobile game that's pretty big in Japan, but right now in the East, Magia Record is getting another set, and this time it's based off the anime adaptation, and sometime soon, English will be getting both, thus breathing new life into a set that sadly doesn't get mentioned much nowadays in English, despite the show's popularity. I'm super glad to see these announcements, and I really hope it lights a fire under Madoka Magica for the English meta. I mean, this will literally double the amount of sets for it, so I'm sure something will happen. That said, I'm not sure how this will work if the sets are being released 2 in a row, simultaneously, or with others in between. If they're releasing together, that's sure going to be tough on the wallets of people who want to buy in. We'll see how Bushi handles this. Me, I'm certainly handling things, but I wish they were better. Players, I'll be real with you. I was really hoping that I would be back out at my game store by now, buying some celebration boxes, playing in tournaments again, seeing my buddies, and going out to eat. God, I want some sushi. Not having Weiss and Chill on the weekends sucks, and not looking forward to any new regionals or events sucks harder. And my announcements and summer content will be a lot more exciting if we could go out and play. Not being able to go out and play Weiss sucks, and it's true. Online play, while it can be fun, definitely isn't the same. But there are a few ways to combat this disappointment. I'd really encourage all of you players at home to try some of these things. First up, join some of the Weiss Schwarz Discords and Facebook groups if you haven't already. Seeking casual game discussion and immersing yourself in it can really help the isolation and lack of games in your life. And of course, casual matches are to be found in all of these places, not just Bushiroad's remote play server. Second, hit up your local game stores online. See if they have blogs, online stores, social media, or group chats. Keep up with where you play. After all, a game store is a tough business to run. The margins can be razor thin, it's round-the-clock work, it takes a lot of planning, organization, and manpower, and it often doesn't result in much money. A lot of the time, the effort that goes into keeping up your place to play results in way more player happiness than profit. If you can, give back to them and order some cards to play and help them stay afloat while they can't open their doors. After all, there's plenty of good stuff to pre-order. And finally, keep watching for more Weiss content over the summer. I'm not the only channel making it for sure. I'd really encourage you to just type Weiss Schwarz in the YouTube search bar and see what comes up as we wait through the second wave of COVID for a day where we can finally unroll our playmats together and play some cards face to face. And when that day comes, players, I'll see you there. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.